Now I'm standing on a jetty here at Lough Enagh, and it's a beautiful lake, as you can see, very scenic. But unfortunately during the week there was a tragedy here, a double tragedy. Two 16-year-old boys entered the water and sadly lost their lives. And you might ask, why am I going to vlog about this? Well, first of all, let me give you the backstory, because this is a story which made national headlines across Ireland and the UK. And here's just one of those TV news reports to begin with.
As you can imagine, this tragedy has left everyone here completely distressed and heartbroken for the families of the two young boys. As you've said, it should have been a night out for this group of young boys towards the end of the summer holidays before they went back to school. But as we now know, it ended in tragedy and the devastating loss of two young lives.
A poignant scene at Altnagelvin as a teenage outing for a group of 6 boys turned to a terrible loss of 2 young lives. A full-scale emergency operation was launched around 6:30 yesterday evening. The air ambulance, as well as police, the fire and rescue service and Foyle Search and Rescue were involved. The group of teenage boys had been out for a cycle, and some decided to go for a swim in the loch, and one got into difficulty. A friend then tried to help, but also faced similar difficulty. One of the teenagers died, and a late-night search got underway for the second boy. His body was later recovered from the water.
Well, last night it was pretty chaotic. Here, families were arriving of some of the young boys who had been involved. They were obviously very anxious. The young boys themselves who had survived or weren't involved in the incident were obviously extremely traumatised by what they had seen.
It is an absolute tragedy, you know, to wake up this morning to find out that we've lost 2 young 16-year-old boys to the loch when they were just out cycling with friends and enjoying their last few days of summer.
One other boy was treated in hospital for his injuries, which are not life-threatening. 3 other teenagers were left shocked but not physically injured.
A scene of tragedy and one of sheer despair when you think of the 2 young lives that are lost, and on behalf of the community, the wider community, our condolences to their families at this very, very tragic time.
This is such a traumatic experience, especially for those young people who were in the prime of their lives, just having received their exam results, going into a new school term. It's absolutely devastating that their lives have been cut short.
The boys were members of the Indian community and regularly attended Mass with their families in the waterside.
As I say, they're here for just over 20 years, but they certainly have made it their home, and they work, of course, in the Altnagelvin hospital, and they work in other caring settings, and of course the parents and the 2 mothers of these 2 boys are also in the hospital. One of the fathers works in the hospital, the other's a local business here, so they're very much in the community, and anybody certainly who comes to church here would know them, and they certainly will be feeling very, very sad for them today.
The ambulance service offered its condolences to the families and said it was a difficult night for all those involved in the emergency.
Our basic aim in the emergency service is to save life, and it's very emotionally distressing when we can't achieve that aim. Very distressing for the ambulance control staff who took the initial call. It was very distressing to listen to the young people screaming for help, and for the crews arriving. And for the Altnagelvin ED staff that had to deal with the aftermath.
Lough, which is near City of Derry Rugby Club, is a popular waterway for boating enthusiasts and paddle boarders. But this tragic loss of life has left this community in stunned disbelief.
While the PSNI are continuing with their inquiries, they say at this stage that they are treating this as a tragic drowning incident. For the families, of course, they are now mourning the loss of 2 much-loved, much-cherished boys who went out on that night out but sadly won't be returning home. Now today, the principal of St Colum's College on the Buncrana Road, where the boys attended, issued a statement, and he simply said that no words could describe the devastation felt by everyone in this community, and that is very much the feeling and sentiment right across the northwest.
So this lake is pretty much beside me, where I live. It's only a few minutes walk. And the boys, as far as I know, entered the water around this jetty. Not sure if they entered it here or jumped off the jetty. for a swim after a cycle towards the end of the summer before they go back to school. This is a very, very deep lake, and it never really gets the opportunity to heat up because of its depth. And a lot of it is sheltered. This is quite an open area of the lake, but the water is always very, very, very cold. And people are generally advised not to swim in it. It's ideal for fishing and kayaking. So a double tragedy here. And hopefully it will send a message of absolute caution to people out there. But first and foremost, we've got to feel sorry for the families. It's a terrible, terrible time for them. People have been leaving their tributes here, flowers and little messages. And I think this also puts into scale the sheer size of this tragedy. Now, during the first and second lockdowns of the pandemic, when you were restricted to the distance that you could walk, well, I would usually walk around this lake. It's so beautiful and peaceful here today. And yet, look what's here. So that's the reason why I wanted to vlog about this. This lake is right beside me, and I just could not believe what was in the news on Monday. And I hope that you will be able to join me this Saturday, the 3rd of September, for a live stream here on YouTube beginning at 10 p.m. UK time. Okay, 10 p.m. We can talk about this, and we can talk about a whole lot of other things. There's a lot of topics to get through. So I hope you can join me for that live stream. Like I said, 10 p.m. UK time, Saturday, September 3rd. Well, the police are here now because there have been reports of young people entering the water after this tragedy. So the police obviously have had to come along and check the area to make sure that there are no people in the water that should not be here.